guests or us deliver certain information and helpful tips, etc. But we want you to be aware that every situation is unique, and you're always going to want to call your own licensed professional for your situation. And please don't interpret anything that we say as legal advice.
I am Perrin Walker, loan officer, NMLS number 1735529. I can be reached at 253-226-6454. I work at Mortgage One Northwest, and their NMLS number is 82426. Mortgage One Northwest is an equal housing lender. This is not an offer to enter into an agreement. Not all customers will qualify. Information, rates, and programs are subject to change without notice. All products are subject to credit and property approval.
All right, thank you, Perrin, for that very clever bit. Okay, today we have with us Garrett Willie, and he's with Do It Right Roofing. And you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'd be happy to. My name is Garrett Willie. Do It Right Roofing is my company, my business. We are a residential roofing installer company.
You guys do commercial though too, right?
We do some commercial work. I was actually out looking at one after I left your guys' home yesterday.
Excellent.
Because there's a lot of insurance work happening right now with all the storms that have been happening in the Northwest.
Absolutely.
So
with all that snow we got 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whenever it was.
It's discovering a lot of problems on flat roofs that maybe not had been seen before. So, but predominantly we're residential roofing contractors, and we started our business back in 2011 with my dad. He's my business partner. And it's nice that we're a family-owned and operated business, and we'd love to, help our customers keep their homes dry. And we've done everything in the general contracting field, but have narrowed our business down to be more specific to roofs, and sometimes we do basement crawl space waterproofing as well.
Right, but mainly roofs, and you used to do electric work too, right? Or do you still do that?
We have an electrical contracting license, but we're not doing electrical work anymore unless it pertains to something specific to what we're doing on the other work.
Okay.
So you didn't always do roofing, right? Didn't you you told me you went to college and you majored in, what was it, biology or teaching?
Yes, I went to a smaller university in Kirkland called Northwest University.
Right.
And my degree is in biology with it. Actually, it's secondary education, so it's a high school teacher.
Okay.
Endorsements in biology, and I minored in environmental science.
That sounds tough. I didn't like anything to do with science in college.
I could have got a second degree, but I didn't want to do one more semester of college for 2 bachelor's degrees. It didn't make sense.
Yeah.
You're probably making more now that you're doing this.
Well, yes. I mean, it's a different kind of career because now I'm self-employed. I'm my own boss, and
There's no limit.
There's no limit. Yeah. It's just a matter of how big the business grows and how many people we serve. It's a win-win situation. Everyone makes more money when we do more jobs, from the installers on up to us when we're doing, management of the jobs and doing the estimates and ordering materials and quality control of the projects. So we started off as a general contractor, like I mentioned, back in 2011, and did a bunch of real estate investing, like flipping of homes, and then became more narrowed down on our business as we found a niche that fit everything that we know and do more specifically. So yeah, I'm not an educator anymore. My dad is my partner. He was in Christian school education for like 30 years, retired from that, and we went into business together.
Okay.
And so he still helps me out. He's 70 years old, but he's out at the job sites today. Well, I'm in here talking to you guys.
Wow. Does he get up on the roof and everything?
Oh, no.
Okay,
No.
that's
He delivers
I don't know if I
stuff to the
have
roof. He drops off dump trailers and
Yeah.
makes sure everything is where it's supposed to be.
Okay. Yeah.
And your mom's going to be joining you soon too.
Yeah, my mom's going to join us as well. She's a real estate agent. She does property management, but she's going to back away from property management to help support our business. And then our installers are not Willie family, but they're all
They're family.
as
They're
well.
family to you, though.
To us, and our lead installer, it's like his brother runs a crew, his uncle runs a crew, so it's all tightly intertwined with the guys that are working, and all the lead people have been working with us for 4 or 5 years. So it's a really tight
Tight
fit.
knit, tight knit
Yeah.
family type atmosphere.
Yeah, it works out, and the customers appreciate that because they know what they're going to get, and they'll see the customers out. They'll see our workers out there as well as us, making sure that they're getting the product that they asked for.
Yeah. Now, I know that roofs have changed a lot in recent years. You were telling us, so our roof is what, 20 some years old, and even if you have like a 10-year-old roof, then the materials are different, longer lasting.
Well,
Or
I think what you're asking, all the time technology is changing,
Right.
and the big manufacturers of all the products that, whether someone's buying a car or a dishwasher or a roof, the manufacturers, if they're any good, are going to be doing research and development and always improving. So, and then the shingle styles for what's been popular has changed a lot. And we see that with clothing or anything else, that styles
Always changing.
But a lot of the change is backed by technology, in that they're making the products better quality, so that the manufacturers can actually provide lifetime warranties, which means the lifetime of
That's a new
you.
thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that one is awesome. See, I was just thinking, maybe if your roof isn't quite ready for a replacement, it might be worth it to get a new roof, a little bit early if you have a leak or something.
Yeah, sometimes it can be. It's every situation is an individual situation. So when I go out and look at a customer's house to determine what we need to do, I want to find out what's important to them and what their goals are. If somebody is going to be selling their home soon and they want to prepare for that, then we can look at products based off of that. For example, a lot of times when people go to sell their home, the bank or the buyers might ask for a certification on that roof.
2 year, 3 year, 5 year.
Or
Right?
5 year. Yeah, you're more. You know more
I've
about this
only
being in the
seen
mortgage
a
industry.
5-year.
Yeah, we're seeing more and more 5 years. It used to be that I remember years ago giving like 2-year certs, and what that is a certification of the roofs where we're stating that we believe it's going to last that long,
least.
based on what we see from an inspection on the roof. And when we look at something and do that kind of inspection, if it doesn't have that kind of longevity, like it's a roof that's near the end of its life, then those people that are preparing to sell their home may need to buy a new roof, and it's better for them to know ahead of time than get to the point where their home is already under
It's
contract.
supposed to close
And-
in
Yeah.
2 days,
Yeah.
and they need a new roof, which is going to take a
As
couple
a
more
realtor,
days.
I would say to
and it's going to ruin everything.
everyone who's thinking about selling their home, before you list, you always should do a pre-listing inspection, because you want to find out, anything that might potentially be a problem later when the financing fails. Then you're going to get a lot less money for your house if it's already been on the market a few times. And I would strongly recommend that every potential seller get a pre-listing inspection, and
Especially
that
in-
includes the roof. And if you have moss on your roof, don't put your house on the market. The moss doesn't sell your house. Anyway,
Get a pre-inspection, especially in today's market when your house could be sold in 2 days or 1 day. If you put it on the market on Friday, a lot of times it'll be sold on Saturday or even Friday.
if it's in good condition,
If
that
it's in
can
good
happen
condition,
really
if it's a
easily.
nice house, and even if it's not, and if it's a cash offer, the thing could close within a week. So you don't want to be slowed down by having problems with your roof. Isn't that right?
Definitely. And putting on a new roof isn't something that happens in like 2 days either.
What is the
you know.
time frame for our size, a smaller house?
Yeah, say our
Oh, well, the actual installation is typically like a couple of days,
But you got to get the parts.
We got to buy the materials. First off, you have to figure out which product the customer wants. But all of that can happen in a couple-hour consultation, with an inspection involved in that to see what's going on with the roof and the system and what needs to happen. Once you pick the product, we have to schedule for the delivery of the product. So that's not usually happening the next day.
That's
So
the
you don't
slowdown, right?
carry you don't have a warehouse.
Oh, no. It wouldn't make sense to carry all that. There's so many different products available and options that are dependent on the customer's situation, what they're looking for, as well as the home and the neighborhood, and what's needed is very independent on that situation and the individual in their home. So we first figure out what the product is that they want or need based on the situation that we find, and then once everything's been agreed upon, as far as price and what they're deciding to do, we'll work on getting the scheduling of the roof. Typically, most people need to expect it to be, 1 to 3 weeks from the time of contract.
Okay, so
You know?
definitely you want to have a pre-inspection.
Yeah, if you have a pre-inspection, then you can plan for it. I'm helping a customer right now that we're going to be doing a roof on, that they're looking to have the house put on the market at the end of the month,
Okay,
right?
that's
And
plenty of
so
time.
they contacted us. I went out there last weekend, just a few days ago, and we looked at everything, discovered what needed to happen. I gave them the pricing on the spot. They decided what they were going to do, which was all the work that I recommended to them, and then we're putting on the schedule. It's going to happen not this coming week, but the following week after, And so we'll have all of that done for them. Then they'll be able to put the house on the market as planned, and everything will be
With a
ready
brand
for them.
new roof.
With a brand new roof and other work that they're having done as well.
Excellent.
Great. And now with all the snow, have you noticed? Yeah, you did mention earlier about
Flat roofs.
flat roofs, but how about just regular roofs? I mean, I'm in a neighborhood, and maybe all the houses have snow on it, and then there's one that doesn't have snow on it. Now, is that the house you want?
Well, so the house that doesn't have snow on it, what's happening is that they're heating their attic space as well, and that's melting all of the snow. So
That's a bad
that's-
thing, right?
yeah. So what that's doing, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's costing them more money for their utilities. So they should have somebody come out and look at it. It may or may not mean that there's any problem with the roof, though.
Okay. All right.
So, but we have been seeing a lot of storm damage happen lately. We're very busy with insurance claims right now because we've had wind, we've had rain, and we've had snow. Just in the last couple of months, it's been pretty hectic with storm
Now, what
damage.
is the big thing with? I understand wind and rain can be quite damaging. Snow, how does that damage the roof?
Well, one thing that we're seeing is when the snow's piled up on the roof and it freezes because of the temperature getting cold at night around the edges of the roof. And then when it starts to melt, if that frozen part is still frozen, the water has to go somewhere. And so it can travel up underneath the shingles and cause damage to the plywood, the decking underneath the shingles. And especially it's going to discover exposed nails, nails that might be rusty under the shingles that we wouldn't normally
Nails
see.
that are not galvanized.
Yeah, they're not galvanized, or they were exposed because maybe they weren't installed correctly.
Okay.
So this weather has been able to show a lot of defects that may have not been noticed for years to come.
Okay. Now, what about icicles? I don't see those like I used to see icicles on all the houses, and now I don't see that anymore.
I don't know.
I mean, it must
Tough
be somehow,
question, honey.
something to do with the design, how the roof is put together. I just
We might find that over here in Old
That's
Tacoma
weird.
somewhere on one of the older homes, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't seen that.
All right. So, what are some of the things you look for when you do a roof inspection?
I am looking for damage on the roof. What we often find, what we mentioned was like rusty nails. If the nails are getting wet constantly, then they'll rust. When the nail rusts, it changes its size, and therefore it becomes loose in the plywood, and it gets a place where moisture can wick down into there. So that's why we're seeing shingles that are blowing off. A shingle should take about 60 pounds of pressure to pull off. When you have a 75-mile-an-hour wind and it's blowing a shingle off, there's a problem. New shingles have 120 mile an hour wind ratings, so we'll never experience anything in.
What do you mean by new? How many years?
Oh, I don't know.
Recent-
Just the
last
more,
5 years,
Yeah, the
or-
last 5 year shingles are
Are better.
obviously going to be better than a shingle from 20 years ago. So what we're seeing with those shingles coming off is existing defective damage that we may have not seen for a long time. And I'll be able to see that when I go up in the attic as well, because in the attic I can see nail penetrations coming through where they're all rusty, and then there's moisture in the attic. Sometimes that happens from another thing that's a really important thing to look at is the venting in the roof, the airflow that goes through your attic space. And if there isn't enough airflow going through one's attic space, or that space between the insulation and the rooftop, then you get what's called dew point transference, which is the moisture that comes through, like on our drinks that we have here. If this drink was an ice cold beer and we were in a really humid space, we'd see perspiration or moisture coming on the outside, which is why, like, down in the South, if you get a beer, they wrap it in a napkin,
Right.
right? Because that otherwise will just slip out of your hands.
And
right?
ice does
So
that
it's
too.
probably
on
not
the
a
inside.
good
Yeah,
idea
ice
to
can do
store
that.
boxes up there in your crawl space then.
Oh, in the attic space? No,
Yeah.
probably not a good idea to do that. You want to have a lot of insulation over your attic space to help, keep the heat in your home. You're trying to create an envelope, meaning that the inside of the home wants to be a sealed space, but your attic space actually is not enclosed in most new construction. You want to have the airflow going through it. That airflow prevents that dew point transference from coming through because it keeps the temperature the same between the top of the shingle and the bottom. And then you don't get that moisture or mold up in the attic that'll create the nails to be rusty, which will then cause more problems where they lift, and then you need a new roof.
And then you need a new roof.
Then you need a new roof.
So let's talk about our roof. You inspected our roof yesterday morning.
Yes.
There's some good and there's some bad, right?
Yes.
Talk about the bad first.
Okay, so it's an older shingle, which is like a 3-tab shingle, like we talked about 20 years.
Right.
Even if they were considered a 30-year shingle to begin with, most of the time they were 25 or 20-year shingles. They're not lasting that long. So 18 to 20 years is pretty common to see those older 3-tab shingles.
Ours
And
is 23.
23, so yours is obviously at the point. We even saw from the side that one of the shingles had pulled up.
Yes.
So
it was standing straight up.
Yeah, it was standing straight up. There's probably a few things. We couldn't climb up on the roof because you have a really tall roof.
Yeah, two-story.
2-story, and I didn't have the truck with the big ladder, but we could see that there were some shingles probably coming
It was
up.
plain. It was plain.
But what we did see, we were able to get up on that porch section and see that, and we could see that one of the shingles. I didn't show you the picture of it, but one of the shingles had like a hole in it.
Why did it have a hole in it? We
I
don't
don't
have any
know.
moss up there because we don't have any trees.
Yeah, you had a little bit of moss,
did we?
but it wasn't terrible. It's good to maintain that, like have it cleaned or treated. And if you had more than 3 to 5 years left on your roof, then we would be talking to,
Someone to
Nick,
clean it.
Nick from Voy Cleaning.
Baker.
Yeah, Nick Baker from Voy Cleaning to come out and treat it because he can help you make your roof last longer by sealing it and keeping the mold and mildew off.
And we don't want to
But-
pressure wash it, right? We just
No.
want to. What's your terminology?
It's like a low pressure, high flow wash,
Right.
which homeowners don't usually have the equipment to do that.
But we
And
don't have 3
And,
to
and
5
why
years
don't you
with
want to use
our
We
your
don't,
own
no.
pressure washer?
It's just because you'll actually void the warranty of just about every manufacturer, probably every manufacturer, if you pressure wash your roof, because you'll end up putting like lines in the roof that damage the shingles.
And you
So-
can possibly expose or create leaks.
You can create other leaks, yes. So that's where like a cleaning system like Nick has is great because it can help seal the roof if that's the point that the roof is on. Your roof is, I think, past that point. So in the next year,
We need to
you're
do
going to get a
something.
new roof. Yeah, and we already talked about a system for doing that. So the good thing with your roof is that the attic was dry and the plywood was solid and not damaged. So that's a big savings because when you get into doing structural repairs, it increases the price quite a bit.
And also our gutters
Your gutters, yeah.
on the one side.
Yeah, I think what
The
we were planning to
snow.
do with yours, the gutters the snow has caused them to pull away because it was heavy, and the nails that went into the 2x4 trusses aren't holding, and that's really common.
Yeah,
So
they're
we talked
too
about
short.
adding fascia boards, which is that board that goes in between the truss that you see that exposed 2x4 in the bottom of yours, and the gutter. And it's a nice finished board, and that'll give us more structure, more wood to attach the gutters to. So when we put new gutters up, they'll look better, and they'll last longer than what's there now. So that'll work. And what we're talking about with your roof and with most of our customers is that we do a lifetime system roof.
That's something that's new to me.
Yeah.
So the
That's
lifetime
really
roof, if it's listed as a lifetime shingle for most manufacturers, it's really a system. It's not just the shingle itself. What the manufacturers, and I installed GAF roofs and we can talk about that in a second. But what the manufacturer's selling is not just the roof shingle, but also the underlayment, which used to be like the 15 or 30 pound felt tar paper. It's now synthetic vapor barrier or synthetic underlayment. I showed you what that looked like yesterday.
Right, and it feels kind of like nylon or
fabric.
fabric.
Yeah, it's kind of a fabric material that wicks
Kind of like
moisture
a
up.
thicker version of the stuff you put in your yard if you want to plant the
Oh,
fabric.
yeah, except for it's designed that moisture won't go through it down into the decking.
Right.
It'll wick moisture up away from the roof itself. And then it's a starter shingle. It's a ridge venting and ridge cap because that's the best kind of venting that there is, and it's easier to show someone than being audio or even the Facebook
So
Live,
vent cap-
but to show how that works. But the ridge venting, so you're having your vent all the way up at the ridge of your home, is more effective than having the vents up on the side of the roof.
And that means that the vent is built into the shingle cap.
The ridge itself.
Ridge shingles.
Yeah, it's built in.
Yeah.
It's all built in as one system. It looks really clean, and it helps protect your home better.
Traditionally,
And
everything's on the
sticking
side,
up on
right?
the roof.
All the venting's on the side. too.
Traditionally, the
ones that look
venting
like
is
lights,
close to
right?
the ridge, which is the top of the roof, but it's on the side. And we found that the ridge venting itself, where it just goes across the whole top of the roof, is much more effective, and it pulls a lot more air coming up from the soffits, the eaves, the edges of your roof, up through the top. Will pull that air through and help prevent that moisture from being in your attic, like we talked about
No
earlier.
moss, no
I
no
think you
mold,
still can potentially
stuff
get
like that.
moss, right?
In the attic, yeah, you can still get moss on your roof, except for new shingles come with additives built into the shingle that helps prevent moss. And some of the shingles we have moss mildew warranties up to 25 years on the shingle itself. So before you'd have to have Nick come out.
It'd be 25 years.
It'd be
and
25
Nick
years.
would be
So
retired.
good shingles.
It'll be
good
Nick's
shingles will put
son
Nick out of
running his
work,
business
right?
at that point. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Is there any?
Yeah.
What else should we talk about?
Well, on the inspection, so if there's peeling paint on the exterior, or maybe some stains on the ceiling, oftentimes that can be caused by the roof as well, right?
So, what we see a lot in homes is that the places that are getting the most moisture are the gable end fascia boards, like we saw at your home,
Right.
where the paint starts to peel off. And when there isn't paint on those boards, on
Then-
those
then we
edge
got
boards,
problems.
then moisture can attack can attack that wood. And then we start to get what's called rot fungus, which everybody refers to as dry rot. But it's what it is the wood will start to be eaten by the rot fungus, by the moisture that's in the edge of the board.
That happens
And
more often, right?
You know what? I don't understand why they
happens
call
all
it
the time
dry
in the
rot
Northwest.
because it's clearly wet.
It's actually everybody calls it dry rot for some reason, but it's actually called like rot fungus. But if someone calls it dry rot, that's okay. It's just we know what they're referring to. They're just saying that wood is deteriorating on the edge. So what we want to do is prevent that before it happens. So as a roofer, I'm not a painter, but we're happy to like cut those boards back or repair them or replace them, and then we'll prime them. And then sometimes if somebody has the paint on hand, we can touch up, paint that. But usually people have their painters come in afterwards and do any of those type of replacements or repairs.
We just painted our house like 3.5 years ago.
It looks great too.
The most of it does, but the boards up there
Are getting
need to be
damaged.
redone
Yeah,
again.
you couldn't reach the soffits.
So,
at the time. The ladders we need to be like 25 feet.
If those were flashed correctly, like how we'd do metal
Then
flashing
we wouldn't
today,
have a problem.
we probably wouldn't have a problem or nearly as much as one. But that wood or that paint is definitely peeling away on those edges.
I've
where
got
they're
to do
getting a lot of
something
water.
about that this
We also
summer.
had an issue with
Yeah.
the flashing. In fact, there wasn't any installed, and that was a defect in a lot of the homes on our street. It was like we have a flashing up front now, and in the front that was added later, a different style because they don't have the other one anymore. And our next door neighbors, they had a problem in the front of their house as well, and they also were lacking the flashing. I wouldn't think it was too common of a problem, but
No, a lot of builders, what they're trying to do is cut corners to save money, and so they're just not installing as much
Correctly.
as what would be more effective for the home. You know, it's not, there's not a code that says they have to do it, so they don't put it on. But it's better to have a drip edge flashing around those edges of the roof to prevent water from curling up underneath and causing damage to the wood, which is probably what you experienced before.
Maybe we should explain what flashing is.
Flashing is metal. So metal is a great way to move water away from the roof structure. So we do flashing at the edges of the roof, and which is the metal that actually has a little edge to it that helps the water drip away, so it doesn't curl back up and touch the wood itself, like your gable end boards or what have you. Also, we put a flashing that has a little lip to it designed for the start of it before it goes to your gutter. So your shingle goes over the top of it, and then the metal flashing's underneath, and then we have all the other layers on top of it to protect it in between the shingle and the flashing. And then whenever there is a valley going down the middle of two different sections of the roof, we would put flashing there as well.
So you don't like going back to jobs once you've done it? For 30 years.
That would be the goal, is to not go back. Of course, it happens where something needs to be corrected or whatever, but we always stand behind our work. And, you know, because there's guys working and it's easy to make a mistake. There's a lot of parts to it. So we will stand behind something if something comes up. But the goal is to have a system where it's the same thing happening every time, which is why I prefer to sell the lifetime roofs. Because when we do a lifetime roof, we can follow this system every time. Some customers don't want to spend the money, and then we're figuring out, like, every line item, what's going on the roof and what isn't. And that's where you could see
That's
something
where you're going to see it in 25 years.
a corner being cut because somebody doesn't want to pay for the full system.
But
And
now,
it's-
if you have a warranty, you have to install every part and probably.
Well, so all the roofs have a warranty, and there is a way that is required to install them. Even our lifetime shingle has a 40-year warranty if we don't do all that extra stuff that we talked about. You know, the starter shingle, the ridge venting, the synthetic vapor barrier or underlayment. If we don't do all that stuff and we did it really simple the way they did roofs 10, 20 years ago, those would still have what would be now a 40-year warranty, because the shingle is better. That would have been a 30-year warranty 10 years ago or 8 years ago. So, but I would rather install the full lifetime system roof, because then I feel much more comfortable because I know it's a system that's protecting the customer.
And it wasn't that much more expensive to have the lifetime warranty versus a 30-year warranty,
it's
which
really
is
about the
actually
same,
not
almost
a full
the same.
30 years. It's not 30 years on the whole roof. It's going to descend. But we got to wrap it up in the next 2 minutes. Do you want to tell people how they can get
How
a
they
hold
can
of you?
reach you.
Oh, sure. I have a website that's dir-roofing.com, so you can check out my website. You can find Do It Right Roofing on Facebook. I don't have a lot of stuff on there, but we can add to that after today.
You can contact you guys.
and
We'll add
and
the
then they
video
can
here.
call me directly. My cell phone number, and if you miss me, because I'm always doing something like this where I'm talking to people, so just leave a message, or I'm talking to clients or what have you. My number is 425-223-1832. Or they can look me up on Facebook. My name is Garrett Willie. I'd be happy to help in any way I can. And even if it's not about roofing, if you just have questions about construction in general, I always know a guy because I've been doing this for a while.
Yeah,
So,
it's good to get a referral. It is.
It
Yeah.
is, because then you're getting a good service instead of just some random person on the street.
I have people contact me all the time for referrals. And, recently my brother had a friend of his call me. The guy probably called me a half dozen times. He was trying to fix like a water damage problem in his home himself.
Yeah.
So he would just call me or text me and send me a picture, and I'd answer the questions for him. I have no problem doing that because I want to help people.
Awesome,
So-
great. Well, thank you,
Thank you
Garrett,
very much,
for joining
Garrett.
us on the show. And
Very informative.
if you have questions, or if you want have a topic idea, or if you want to sponsor the show, or just do real estate, our number is 253-226-6454, or you can message us via our Facebook page at Locking It In. And you can find us all episodes on our blog at lockingitin.com, and we'll see you next week. And next week we'll be talking about the exciting subject of property management. So you'll want to tune in and hear what your landlord's got to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.